so I just wanted to create a video demonstrating how to use the pattern sequencer within Logic to create your melodies, your lead lines, your bass lines, your chord tracks without using the piano roll. Now obviously you might normally associate using the pattern sequencer with your drum tracks, but it's really cool and creative to get going for your lead lines or your more melodic tracks. So let's just open up a new instrument. I'm just going to MIDI. I'm going to create, that's that. Let's have a look at some of these instruments here. I'm going to go with 80s Fantasy. No idea how it sounds, but it sounds pretty cool. I'm going to just loop the track. Now, normally when you press the pen down here, you're going to be presented with the piano roll. But I want to be presented with the pattern sequencer, so I'm just going to click up on my track, and you presented with the three options: MIDI region, pattern region and drummer region. There's my pattern sequencer. I'm just going to drag this over. Now when I open up the pen track down here, I'm presented with the pattern sequencer rather than the piano roll. So as you can see, whenever you open up Logic, you're defaulted to 120 BPM and C major, when you open up a new project, that is. And as you can see down the left hand side, all the notes here correspond to the C major scale. I can make this scale independent within here of the main project, so I can obviously choose from all the different scale types within there. I can change the key. But say for example your project is in C minor, let's just move that over just for the sake of this tutorial, and I click these three white dots here. There's an option to transpose. Now I can transpose up a semitone, down a semitone, up an octave, down an octave, or I can transpose it to the project key. So if I click that now, as you can see, it's changed the corresponding notes in that scale to the C minor scale. So we've got D and then D sharp, for example. So that's that. So now we're in C minor, we're in that is transposed within here. And now literally you can start just inputting notes here. And there's no real thought process to what I'm doing here, because I know that all these notes correspond to this scale, so I can literally just do that and I can press play, and straight away I've got something going where I can either build upon that, or I can use it for inspiration for something else. I can go here and change the pattern length. I'll go to 32 steps, which will open up two windows. So in the second window I can add some variation maybe. What I am going to do quickly is just turn this track down so you can hear me better. Right, that's that. Okay, so that's that. As you can hear straight away, you know, we've got a cool variation going, which is awesome. And you know, you could utilize that, or you could use it as inspiration for your song. Let's just undo all of that quickly. Bum 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 bum. Right, so we're back to square one. If I now make this bigger again, stretch it out. If I click these three white dots next to the stretch button, you've got the option, well, you've got all these different options in here, but the main one to really look at is the patterns. If I go to show patterns, it's going to bring up bass, chords, drums, melodic and templates. So let's say for example I clicked bass, I just went to ancient acid, it's going to now create a preset for me, you know, and straight away again you could use this as inspiration, or you could just go, you know what, I like that, I'm just going to leave it alone, or you could add to it and do whatever you want really. So that's that. And there's loads of presets to choose from. Now if you go all the way down to templates, it brings up the scales again. So we're in the minor scale, so it will bring up all the different options for the minor scale, but let's just click minor down here. What this is going to do now, which is really cool, is it has stretched out even more of the keyboard for you to input notes. So we're going from C2 all the way up to C4. So there's so much more you can now do within here. So you can obviously add your notes in and do what you need to do with your patterns. Up here you've got different options. So you've got the velocity option, you've got the gate option, type, note, octave, and you can click down on the, and you've got repeat, loop, chance, offset as the step rate, and skip a note. So if you go back up here and you go to your on off, where you can obviously select your notes. Let's say for example I inputted a triad chord here and I press play. It's obviously, you know, playing it, but it's just playing it at the 16th note. So if I go over to here, which is tie, I can and all I'm doing here is I'm literally just clicking on them, and now it's made that, you know, longer. And if I come back to here, then I can carry on editing my notes. So with this now, when you click on the top ones, that's for the whole, you can change every single parameter with whatever notes you've got here. But what I could do as well, if I wanted to just change C2, I could go into here and it gives me all the options again. I can either choose to change these here, or I can click the white dot in the corner and I can add a sub-row or remove a sub-row, so I can carry on adding within here. So you can do really cool stuff like note repeats and whatnot, like you'd normally associate with your drums, but obviously with your melodies, that's really cool because you can get some really interesting variations and whatnot with just doing that. If, say for example, you go to the loop option, now because I've clicked here, it's now completely independent of those first 5 steps. Or I can make that back to the length, and I can click after the note input. And now it will run through. So each time it's missing out the last 2 steps. And again, it's creating really interesting variations to my pattern just from playing around with these different options, which is really cool. What else you can do in here? You can live recording. So if you've got a MIDI keyboard, or you want to use the keyboard on Logic, or you know, the chord strip or whatever, you can record that in, so it will be part of your sequence. And then say for example you hold down the chord, it will automatically know to tie it, so that's really cool. So using it like the piano roll. You've got the option to randomize it. You've got these options here where you can actually add automation into the pattern sequencer itself, rather than using the automation within the main window. So you've got all the options here. You've got, let's get rid of that quickly, these 3 dots here, which here will bring up, you can change the length, so it's at 16th notes at the moment, we could change to 8th, and so again, you know, you can change that within here. You can change the automation mode from latch to slide. Now I'm not 100% what slide is, I haven't really looked too much into the automation, but it is a lot like using it with the you know, in your main mode. But let's just have a quick look here. So let's go into automation and let's just use volume as an example. So straight away it's brought up a automation bed here. And if I click down, you can now add all your different things. So the value here, so I can just mess around with this. I would be able to draw this in as well, but as I've got the old mouse here. Now let's just press play and see what happens. So nothing's happened yet. So what you need to do is you need to there we go. You need to enter your notes in, I presume, as if you were doing it with the step sequence normally. Let's have a look. So this one's at 1.9 decibels. That's down. Let's just do it for all of them. See what happens. So again, this is just experimenting with it and trying to see what will work and what doesn't. There you go. You can see it's already done the automation, which is really cool. So yeah, the best thing to do is just to experiment and see what works and what doesn't. You might find that actually the automation works better by just doing it in your main track, because you know it's really quick and intuitive to do it that way. So one last thing to show you quickly, because I don't want this video to go on too long, is we'll just come out of here. Now obviously you may want to edit this further within the piano roll. So what you can do is you can click on it, click on your main, double click it, or you know, long hold with your finger, and if you go down to convert, you can now convert this to a MIDI region, and that will now bring it up as a MIDI region where you know you can edit it as you may be more familiar. So that's that. And then obviously, you know, that's pretty much the video. So if you've liked it, then please you know, leave a comment or like and subscribe to the channel. That'd be awesome. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.